Crystal Edge Technology Screens. So the topic is why we don't really consider, from what the testing I've done already, we don't consider their products to be real. Because again, there are so many tests that they have skipped. It is not even funny. Consider the fact that the challenges that we put out are nothing, not really challenges at the end of the day. It's just tests that our screens have to go through. Literally, the tests that our screens have to go through, we make those challenges and they can't even pass them. A basic 1 year 720p swap out can't be done. Because again, as I said before, they have to depend on the projector in order to make the screen look somewhat decent. When they do contrast levels, they're in the dark. When they do color levels, that's the only way they can do any demonstration in a somewhat poorly lit environment. They'll use color demonstrations. That's it. I don't see any tests on certified screens. I mean, if we go match side by side to our test demonstrations, y'all don't match it. You don't match my environments. You don't match the size of my screens. You have no real outdoor demonstrations. How many certified screens have you matched? Have you even done Black Diamond? Nothing. DMP, Supernova, any of the big build companies that you know at the end of the day that are gunmetal technology, you have never tested against. Ultra short throw. Elite has a whole list of ultra short throw ceiling and light rejection technology. We've tested all of that. Your environments, you call them ambient light environments? No, they're far from it. They're too dark. Even the demonstrations we have upstairs have more light than those environments. How many different products have you tested your products on the same as yours? As in, if someone were to make that product as close to your product as possible. Network grade 773. And eventually this individual is blind as a bat because over the thousands of people that we posted that thing to so many different sites, everybody said the same thing. What the heck am I looking at here? They both look the same. This invisible hue, color, or whatever it's supposed to be, doesn't even exist on anything at all, period. But he claims he sees this that nobody else can see. So, no, we don't take y'all demonstrations seriously. Y'all don't do any form of, y'all talking about y'all work with venue projectors. How many venue projectors do you own? They don't even own any venue projectors. An NEC NP1150 is not considered to be a venue projector, even though it's 4,000 lumens. It's not. It's actually a home theater projector. I had 2 of them. So I know exactly what that projector is. It's just the same type cast projectors, and yes, usually even with companies, they even change out their projectors. They may be expensive projectors at the end of the day, but it's still at the end of the day, they're changing up their projectors, even though they are expensive high models. These are the same projectors on the same screen day in and day out and day in and day out. I haven't seen the ultra short throw demonstration done on anything bigger than 100 inches. We got an ultra short throw upstairs at $60, a basic NEC projector. My screen's 148 inches, and I can display this in a fully lit environment where we see demonstrations on these P2 projectors that are supposed to be these they're high-end model projectors, but look at the environments that they're set into. Dark environments, poorly lit environments, and again, screen size at 100 inches, which even in the promo, they did 120 inches. But again, I explained to you why they do the 100 inches, because they get a sharper, brighter image, because the screen's smaller. The bigger the screen, the more light the screen's going to take in. So, no, I really don't see any real tests being done. That whole strip of 235, we tested our screen paint on, we have so many test demonstrations on our products versus black paint, black fabric, you name it, we've done it. We've got the tests to back it up. Right there on YouTube, right there in my archives, and bring any one of my demonstrations up. But again, we really don't see any tests. They will do the bare minimum, which means they'll do one test on on one product, and that's it. That's it. What about the rest of them? How does network grade 773 or African gray? There's another one called African gray. There's another one called silver mist. How do they compare to the other screen paint products? Not just one, all of them. When we test our products on a certified screen stack I have up there on top of my bookcase, we put that same, all those certified screens go against all our products. We don't just put them on one product and that's it. Every last one of these screens have to go through the same amount of testing. I see one test on network grade 773. What about the rest of them? How do they compare to that house paint? All their tests are done. That's why I said we don't consider them to be real screen paint at the end of the day. They don't do anything special. How do their products stack up against some of the people who make screen paint products on what you call it, on eBay? There's a lot of people make other screen paints. How does your product compare to those particular products on there? Now, we've already tested one which was called Pro HD Screens. Extremely good product. Like I said, very nice product. It beat his product with no problem whatsoever. But, you know, like I said, there's not enough test demonstrations. Their test demonstrations are pretty much basic. They paint something onto a surface, they stick it in front of a screen, and dark environment, and they show some pretty colors. That's it. There's no test. We make a product, we roll it out, we paint it into a max out zone, which means we have a ton of light in the environment. We show contrast levels, color levels, white levels, and we do that against certified screens also right from the door. We drop it at 4,000 to 1,000 lumen projector, and then we run it at ultra short throw. They don't do any of those tests whatsoever, period. Same projector day in and day out. That's why their test demonstrations, when we get them down, or if we get them down here, they know 100% that they have not tested their product correctly, and they do know for a fact that if their products land down here, they're not going to do well. This is why with Fernando, we have about $1,360 worth of canceled orders, and from PARTAY, we have $700 canceled orders from him. Canceled orders, mind you. This is for this year. We're not talking about 2 years back. 2 years back, we got even more on top of that. We have to add those up too, because we're able to get 3 of them from him in 2019, right around the time where we were trying to order from him, and he pulled down his eBay listing. So the fact that you guys are calling yourself making real screen paint, the records that we have on you guys, canceled orders, even in the middle of live streams, pulling down marketplaces, all kinds of stuff, sending us false products in the mail, clearly shows you cannot back your products. But even worse, you haven't even purchased from us yet. It's already next month. We're already in the next month already. Mind you, one person called me up to confirm his order. The second one walked around in his backyard talking about how he was going to get the product sooner or later. Well, we've been asking you sooner and later at the same time, and no orders have gone through. And we all know why. Everybody knows why. Simple fact, you faked a whole lot of demonstrations. And if you did all these demonstrations against our products, if we're such big scammers at the end of the day, then shouldn't we be easy to beat at the end of the day? But for some reason, you fear the daylights out of us. Because your products don't work. They don't. And I guarantee you, I can match your product against house paint. Heck, I can make your products if I want to. The fact that I watched that video 3 times in a row, I know his own demonstration before he knows it, his own instructions. I watched that instruction video 3 times. I sat there and painted an 80-inch screen twice and a 100-inch screen before your instructions were up, showing that your instructions took way too long to do, number 1. Number 2, you went through all that in the instructions just to have your home theater wall, basic paint, match your screen without flaw. So that means, and that person really doesn't have to go through a 4-step process, as you call optimization and all that nonsense, which, keep in mind, we are getting that product. We're going to have it down here. It's just when we want to get it down here. Don't worry about it. Don't look for it. It'll hit you. You'll never see it coming. I'm not going to give it time and a date when we're going to order it, but we're going to get you. We had Crow's product down here galore. It's nothing more. That's house paint. It's nothing more than it. And he proved it himself in the demonstration. Sat there on camera, screen matched house paint. So what people have to understand is when you're matching a product that's lower than yours, you can't match it at all. Out of 100%, you better not match any of it, period. That's not a good sign. That's a bad sign. That's why I sat there and I took the Titan technology, took black paint, and I drew right into my screen. Didn't match at all, period. Didn't even match the same color. These screens have different black shades. So they don't match everyday black paint. That's a customized shade right there. But it's black, as you can see, as you're staring at them. They're all black, yeah. But again, you guys don't do enough demonstrations at all at the end of the day. It's the same thing, same demonstrations. I have so many people come up to me in so many different places and they say, your your demonstrations are done are unmatched. And we are unmatched. Show me any demonstrations on real outdoor screen displays. Anything. Anything at all. I saw PARTAY's demonstration on his inflatable screen outside in the dark. Your screen can't pull up. No contrast levels, nothing at all, period. Show me a demonstration at 453 with a star-filled demonstration display on your screen. Can't do it. Because you have a gray screen paint product. And I could not explain to you, fellows, that your products are basically obsolete. And you don't want to believe it, but it's true. The gunmetal technology is responsible for the wipeout of your technology. That's what, or really your paint at the end of the day. That's what's responsible for it. The black diamonds, the DMP supernovas, those dark gunmetal screens. So the problem is you don't even know the history of your own product. That's what makes it sad. You don't even know the history. I was in the era when all that paint was coming out, the goo screen and all that stuff, when YouTube was flooded with bright-eyed, bushy-tailed developers that are making their own different forms of screen paints all over YouTube, using different forms of projectors and setups. I was in that era. You guys weren't in that era at all, period. You weren't even thought of. That's why you don't come up in any of my old demonstrations under digital and crystal screen paint, because you weren't even there. I was there way before you guys ever even thought of. That's why you're never mentioned any of my digital and crystal screen paint products. My product under digital and crystal screen paint was actually contracted. I don't see any contracts or anything under your products. Nothing. Which shows your products are outdated. They're so outdated, it's not even funny. How much is your products worth? 40 to 50 bucks. That's what it's worth. You know why? Because if you go on eBay, you will see other people who make gray screen paint products. Look at the price of their products compared to theirs. They want $100, they want $178. It's not even worth that at all, period. We tested your product against a guy who made a product called Pro HD Screen Paints. His product pulled a higher white level than your product. It's better than yours and it costs less than your product. Pretty sure he hasn't done all the tests we have, but then again, at the end of the day, his product did prove better than yours. And it's much cheaper, a lot cheaper. What you're trying to get for your product would have been worth in the era that I was in, way back when we first started in gray screen paints, before black diamonds were ever heard of. Yeah, at that particular time, the gray screen was considered to be the popular screen because between the gray screen was the white screen or your wall. That was it. Or you can go out and spend the money for goo screen, which would cost you $600, $300. This is it was very, very expensive, and it was a process to put in. So if you had the money, you could go goo screen. If you did, most people went out and they made their own gray screen paint products. That's what they did. Now, at that particular time, you guys would have made a good piece of change. Now, no. For what you're trying to claim your products can do, yeah, whatever. No, not going to happen. Again, overpriced, expensive projectors, high-end projectors to try to make the screens look a little bit more advanced than what they are in dark environments. All right, so let's explain to you again why your products are not worth the price point that you're trying to get from them. Number one, before the black diamonds and all the high-end gunmetal screens came out on the market, we had the white screen, or people use white walls, one or the other. And then you had these bed sheets, or just about everything else that we're using, bed sheets, just about everything else, to get that big screen effect at the end of the day. And then you had gray screen paint, the great YouTube gray screen paint that came out. No one knows exactly who made that, but it was supposed to be a YouTube product. It's supposed to be called the YouTube paint, or whatever, a gray screen paint product that everybody was basically making their own version of. So at that particular time, the gray screen was actually considered to be the most superior screen because, like I said, it produced a slightly better contrast, slightly better color, and good white levels, but not compared to a white screen, than basically a white wall or white projection screen. But then when you had the gunmetal, which is the diamonds and the darker screens that came out, now the gray screen is obsolete. The whole purpose of the gray screen was not for its white levels. The whole purpose of the gray screen was for it to have the ability to be able to pull a better contrast and color level. This is where you two know nothing about screen paint at all. You know the whole purpose of a gray screen when they came out. It wasn't its white levels. Because the gray screen was going against the white screen. That's what that was bad on, the white screen. And the white screen claimed that it pulled a higher white level. Screen had been out for almost forever since the Solid era. But the gray screen paints had an edge because they could pull better color slightly better color, and better contrast because they were slightly darker than a white screen. That's where the gray screens became popular. Now you have a gunmetal, a screen that has a reflective surface that can produce an amazing white level but maintain a contrast level and deeper and richer colors because the screen is darker, making the gray screen now obsolete due to the fact that the more superior screen has stepped foot, as in the diamond. The diamond has the ability to have, like other darker screens like the diamond, have that ability to have that reflective surface where they can maintain a high white level, but they can pull a heavier contrast levels, which gives them deeper and richer contrast levels and colors that pop. Black technology, same thing, has the ability to pull high white levels, has the ability to pull an insane contrast level because the screen is literally jet black and can pull deeper and richer colors. That's why when we put certified screens against a black screen will always overshadow those screens because it is a darker and more dominant screen. That's why the gray screen paint product, again, at the end of the day, is considered to be a kind of obsolete product. You can't produce a black level like a black screen, and you can't produce a white level like a white screen, so where do you sit at? You don't exist. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And the fact that you guys keep coming to talking about, oh, the white levels, the white levels, the white levels. First of all, dark gray screens were never developed for white levels. Never. If you go back to the history, when it all started, like I said, the white screen was the dominant screen. Then the gray screens came out. And the gray screens could produce not a high enough white level to compete with the white screen, but a better contrast and better color than the white screen. Now, the gunmetal comes out, darker screen, produces a reflective level that produces a high enough white level to be able to blend in or overshadow a gray screen, but because it's dark, it produces higher contrast, which was the purpose of the gray screen over the white screen, and produces deeper and richer color. You became obsolete. See, that's what I realized that day when I had that black diamond punch sheet in my hand, and I went home to my room and I put it against all my products, which were gray screen paints, and I realized that that was the future I had in my hands. And in order for me to survive in this field, either I can go against it or I can basically roll with it. I chose to roll with it. But if I'm going to develop a technology, I'm going to develop something that's darker than what's standing before me. And that's the reason why I got a letter from Screen Innovation. This is the reason why they said our product had promise, because we did something that no other company could do. We were able to take on their screen, something that you guys can never do, because a black diamond would destroy your stuff with no problem. You could never compete against that technology, not ever, not with the stuff that you have. I can tell you right from the door. As for that UV mix mess, no, that stuff is horrible. That stuff has so much black paint in it, the white levels on it drop dramatically, extremely bad. So your products, again, are in the, the no-fly zone. There's nothing there in your product at all whatsoever. And from what I've seen from Network Grade 773, against your products, you actually match that stuff perfectly with no problem. Your test demonstrations, you have to rely on high-end projectors. You have to. You have no choice. Because a high-end projector is going to give you better contrast and better color. It's going to give you things that everybody's normal projectors are not going to do. That's why we gave them a 1-year swap out. 1-year swap out, they have to take that projector out of their scenery for 1 year. They can't do that because they need that projector to make the screen look good. And if that's the case, that becomes your handicap because everybody's not going to have that same projector. And in order for them to get that image, they're going to have to spend the money for that projector, which means you're not saving anybody any money at the end of the day. They have to spend more money in order to get that image. And then judging by your environment, they're going to have to be in the dark too on top of that. Then they'll have to calibrate it, and that's something else you're going to have to go through. So yeah, that's the problem they're going to have. So again, like I said, no, I'm not seeing anything new at all, period, with your products at all. As for PARTAY stuff, it's nothing special. I'm not seeing anything new. The simple fact that you went through that whole entire process of painting the screen and it matched the wall in the theater room, which did not require 4 coats of paint, and that whole process right there let me know from the door that pretty much that whole combination that you have in there is just basically to separate yourself from Crow's product. That's all you're doing. The detail instructions, the 4-coat application, claiming that your product's not a paint, it's actually a paint. You put distilled water in it. That's the reason why it's thin. The reason why you put the distilled water in, you said because it's a form of delivery system, and that keeps the product from basically drying out. That is basically the idiotic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Due to the fact that that was the case, then any time you bought paint, you would have water in it if it was designed as a delivery system, but that's what you claim it's for your product. No, you put distilled water in to thin it out to make it look like it has a different base than his product. That's what you did. I guarantee if you two decided to do it side by side, you'd match. I guarantee you would. But you'll never do that demonstration because you know I'm telling you the truth. The whole quantum of mixing the products together, layer after layer, fusion doesn't work. If the surface is dry, how is it going to fuse to the other surface? How does that work? Now, if you do it with a spray cannon and you spray it and it's partially wet and you spray it again and those two combine together to basically dry together, they fuse together, they dry together to create a whole different screen. And you could prove that in a demonstration by saying, okay, look, it's a 4-step process. We're going to do this demonstration from 1 to 4, 2 to 4, 3 to 4. And then we're going to show, when I have 1, it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to see when we hit the projector, say one has bad color, one has horrible contrast, one's too dark, but the screen he has with the 4 on it works perfectly fine. As you can show you in the demonstration, you have to put in that 4-step in order to achieve that final stage. But if there's nothing showing any difference, why would the customer go through that 1, 2, 3, 4 if we can just do it with the first one and be done with it? Which clearly you just showed in your demonstration when your wall matched your screen. Then all somebody has to do is just go get the same color you have in your home theater room. It's only one coat. They got your screen. That's it. You didn't show any difference at all, period. I don't know how you missed that one, but you did. It was right there. Whew. And then in your conversation, you say that if you put in a 5th coat, the screen becomes slightly brighter. Well, I would love to see that one, but I don't think we're going to see that one because, again, you guys can't back it up. Getting back to Mr. Crow, or Fernando Gonzalez, or Jamie Fernando Gonzalez, whatever you want to call yourself at the end of the day. Your product, on the other hand, is something else. We've had it here. You've matched just about everything we could possibly throw at it, and house paint was definitely one of them. The fact that you got on camera and you try to convince your trolls, and we checked the room. We wanted to check the room because people were asking me how many people were believing in this phony baloney nonsense. And the only people that you had in there were trolls. Trolls are going to support trolls. That's what they do. Only one troll actually supports you. The rest of them are in their own little world talking about a whole bunch of nonsense at the end of the day. It's kind of like watching women pick apart a turkey in the kitchen after Thanksgiving. That's what it kind of reminded me of. Because neither one of you have nothing to show at the end of the day but talk. So basically, only one person said that, oh, I see a difference. Yeah, no one saw a difference at all, period. A slight hue, sorry about that, buddy. That doesn't work. Everybody saw the same thing. But what I find even more interesting that you stopped it there. You didn't go any farther with those tests. You should have went through the rest of the products because now the curiosity rises. What about the personal mix, the UV mix? All that, how does all that compare to house paint? You haven't done enough tests. I got over 29 tests of black paint versus my product. I've even painted black paint live on camera versus my products. Painted it into screens. We've done everything you can possibly think of. And you, on the other hand, you stop at one thing and you're done. Your demonstration on the certified screen, absolute, complete, utter fail. Definitely a fail. Number one, I hope you weren't using a P2 because neither one of those screens are supposed to be on an ultra short throw at all, period. They're supposed to be on long throw projectors only. You don't use them on P2s or ultra short throws are not compatible with them. It's just clearly on the sample sheet form when you get it, what you can use it and what you can. But the sample sheet you had that had all the creases and bends in it, the reason why that screen came up so dark is because you're using a surface that has that reflective surface. Those screens, if they don't lay perfectly flat to a surface, they have something called that narrow viewing cone effect. You get a little darkness around the edges and all that stuff will pop up. That screen has to lay perfectly flat. And again, you did that demonstration in complete darkness because the OLED horse demonstration, it popped up in a fully lit environment. Those two screens would have actually been able to display. Yours would have washed out. You guys think you're slick at the end of the day. I mean, I see some of the dumbest things and some of the dumbest. It's unbelievable some of the stuff I've seen in their demonstrations. The 4x8 board that happened to pop up in one of the demonstrations that was laying directly where the window light would have basically pierced under the shade and hit the bottom layer of his screen. And for some reason, out of all demonstrations, there happened to be a 4x8 board in that direction. You did that in a demonstration in the dark. That room was so dark that he had a lamp in there to give it off the appearance that I don't know what time of the day we're trying to shoot for, but you can clearly see by the peephole, the sunlight that was pushing through and around the curtains must have been around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Failed demonstration. Another demonstration that was done where the camera was sitting right up on top of the screen, right up on top of it in the dark, trying to prove a contrast level. Another failed demonstration. Oh my goodness. The challenges that we give you are not challenges to us. These are everyday tests that we do. Like right now, if I fire up both of these screens right now, and I give you a challenge to fire up in a max out zone, I show star fields only on these, and I give you that demonstration, you can't even do it. If I do it 18 screen certified, you can't even do it. If I give you a test at 1,000 lumens, 14 feet back, and you have to display network grade 773, and I do mine with black paint, at the same time and show a color pattern, you can't even do it. This is basic tests for us. This isn't challenges for us. We're giving you our basic tests. Anytime you get a challenge from us, that is a basic test. And you can't compete it. I'm surprised on the 1 year swap out. I'm really surprised. But I told you already from the door, they have to depend on those projectors. They had to. They have no choice. So what you're seeing in there, the reason why we gave them the 1 year challenge, the whole purpose of that is because they're coming to tell me you're getting quality. You're not getting quality if you have to depend on a projector to do all the work. Because now the screen's not doing the work. It's solely on the projector that's doing the work. So if your screen has such quality, you could do a 1 year swap out in a max out zone. You could do it if that was the case. But the reason why they never did the test because they had to rely on those projectors. And that's pretty sad. So gentlemen, no, you don't in any way whatsoever, we don't consider your products to be real. We've had them down here for testing. Anyone I can't say honestly, we haven't had down here for testing is PARTAY, but we'll have your product down here. All that nonsense you guys were talking about, whatever, this, that, and the other. Yeah, we kind of shut you up on that one. We told you to buy the product directly from us. What happened? No orders came through yet. What's the point of calling me up and wasting my time? I'm a very busy person, wasting my time on getting a confirmation on something that was 3 weeks ago, and actually now 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago on something you're never going to pick up because you can't bring that product to your apartment, and we all know why, because there's no way for you to tamper with it. There's no excuses. Oh, I got it from this person. I got it from that person. There's no excuses. You buy directly from us. Can't be addressed. You're afraid to put your address up because we got that already. PARTAY may be address for him. He might be afraid to put his address up. On the other hand, my product's going to level his stuff. Yeah, you guys already know from the door. If 38 Black Widow or Titan goes into your plate, I'll level your stuff so fast it won't even be funny. And you can watch it on camera unfold. So that's why you're afraid. You're afraid to buy my product directly from me. I don't have a problem buying your product. The only problem is you're too scared to ship it out. That's the problem. That's why we get canceled orders. This is why we get fake products that come in the mail because you're afraid you can't back your own products up. Even after you make statements, you can't even back them up. That's what makes it so sad at the end of the day. I can't give you guys any credit for anything. You made statements and you can't even back up your own statements, what makes it sad. So what are you going to do? You're going to get upset, go to your computer, make a bunch of memes as you usually do? Child. Absolutely a child at the end of the day. That stuff doesn't bother me. It just shows at the end of the day how much of a child you are. That's your answer. That's your solution. Make a couple of memes. Ooh, that hurts. No, it doesn't. It just shows how unprofessional, how sad you are at the end of the day. Instead of you wasting the time jumping on your computer, making your little memes, how about you jump on your computer, you order my product, get it down there so I can crush your stuff real quick, and we can move on. Other than that, the sad thing about it is we have to really keep calling out for that. What's the point? I mean, the bottom line is we already know they're afraid. Why is my light red on one side and green? Oh, that's probably two different projectors. I'm looking at my projectors like, ooh, okay, and change your lamp. Anyway, I'm done here. I ain't going to go over there. See that mirror sitting over there at that table? I got a test demonstration formula. While you guys are on your computers making your memes, being angry and upset, biting your bottom lip, and doing what you do best as being the troll that you are, I'm developing new technology. I'm already up to about 6 different versions of the Invisible. Now we got another one right here on the table right here, which we just developed today. And this one is going to be used for a different form of advertising technology, which we're going to be spraying on in a few minutes. That's the difference between what we do and what you do. Your answer and your solution to pretty much, I guess, attacking me is making little memes on it. Big deal. What are you, like 16, 12? I wouldn't even say 16. I wouldn't give a person 16. I think 12. I wouldn't give him 12. Maybe 5 or 6. At the end of the day, you can't even back your products up. It's a shame. It's sad. But yet I have tons and tons of evidence against you guys on so many levels. I got videos of you guys pulling out marketplaces. I got videos of you guys canceling orders. I even have receipts from Crow. In those receipts, he was crying harassment. In the crying harassment. Telling us, oh, don't buy my products, stay away. Even at one point, we hit a fake shopping cart that should have never been in your marketplace to begin with because, again, you don't even make a Black Frankenstein. It doesn't exist. We checked, we searched for it. It doesn't exist. We ordered that back last year. So you had a fake active shopping cart in there. It was taking money from people. We're not even going to go into the website. I'm going to leave that one alone. You already know the story behind that one. So that's neither here nor there. That has nothing to do with the screen paint. That's a whole nother story on its own. But the lies on basically how you're stating that your products paint a certain size screen, that is definitely a complete lie right there. Unless you paint it in, it's a lie. And if you want to ever question my work on painting screens, then well, let's see. We did 32 ounces for 150 inch, got it live, painted. We did 250 inches with 248s, 96, got it on tape. We did 180 inch with 48, got it on tape. We did 106, I think, wallpaper screen, 20 ounces, got it on tape. Everything we claim we do, we have a recording to back up everything that we do. You guys are out there making accusations. Well, actually, the other one, not so much. His is a little bit more complicated because, again, remind you, his product is a 4-coat application. The biggest screen size he says that he does is 120 inches, but he has 48 ounces on there. You got 48 ounces. So, man, you should have really added that one up. At 120 inches, you're going to get a much bigger screen than that. You're going to leave your product, your customers with around 16 ounces extra. Well, it's 32. If he's 32 for each one, but it's 48. So he actually has an extra 16 ounces per 48. So that's 64 ounces. We're not going to get into the whole math thing because we already know the story behind that. I'm not even going to go over it. You know what we saw about the whole math and Crow, and leave that alone. But anyway, that's 64 ounces. Just to let you know, if you guys do a gallon at 32 ounces, that's 128. So you know that. But anyway, yeah, that's what it would be. So you're giving your customers an extra 64 ounces, which means you lose profit on that at the end of the day. On top of that, you couldn't even ship that overseas due to the fact that 248 ounces was sitting inside a medium-sized shipping box. But if you had 432s, which should have been the size you should have started with, was 432s. 432s would have actually fit comfortably in a medium-sized box. But you changed it over to 48 ounces trying to be like me at the end of the day. And that's where you actually jacked yourself up. Because a 48 ounce, and for the price that you charge at 160 bucks, if you were able to ship over, and mind you, your train takes four applications of paint, which is 4 containers, at 48 ounces a pop. Only 2 of those are going to fit in a medium-sized shipping box. If you were to ship that to Ireland, which I did ship a screen to Ireland, it cost me around $79, almost close to $80 to ship a medium-sized box over to Ireland. And you're talking about only 2 containers. Now, if you put that in a large, you're probably talking about maybe $115, maybe $160, $120 out of $160 that you make. So say it's $120, you're left with $40 left over. You still are going to have to make the product itself, which, again, I don't think there's anything special about your product because of the breakdown. it would cost you more money to make your product. A lot of you not to what your price is. See, your price is at 160. Boy, I'm telling you, but I got to bring out a chalkboard for this one to break it down for you. The thing about you guys, you don't understand business. That's the problem. You just make paint, throw it up on the screen. There's a business part of it all. It involves math, a lot of math, all right? On exactly how much your product's going to be worth, the shipping costs, all that stuff plays a part. Even down everything from ink, the labels, all that stuff, you got to calculate all that in there. So again, 48 ounces. That's what you have on your site. If you had it at 32, right? 32. If you had it at 32 or 32, oh man, you really messed up really bad, because 4 containers, how much paint are you going to get out of each container? If it's 32, 132 is going to have to paint a screen size of 120 inches. Yeah, that would fit right in there. I don't know why you changed it over to 48. What was the purpose behind that nightmare? You just caused for yourself. If 32 gets a 120-inch screen, and say the customer, your max screen is 120 inches, all right? So one of those applications is going to cover a 120-inch screen, which means all 4 of them will have to be to cover a 120-inch screen, would be the size of a 32 ounce. 32 ounces, 4 of those would actually fit perfectly in a medium-sized box. So if you were shipped that to Ireland, it would cost you, like I said, probably 70, 80 bucks in that price range. But you made yours out of 48, which means that is 148 is going to paint over 120 inch easily, which means you gave your customers more paint than what they needed, which means you gave them an extra 16 ounces added on to a 32, which means altogether calculated that 4 times 16 should be around somewhere, right? 64 ounces, not 64 ounces, yeah, 64 ounces. Yeah, you gave them an extra 64, which is actually an extra 2 quarts. They're probably scratching here like, what the freak is he talking about? Yeah, follow with me, it gets complicated. So you pretty messed up here pretty badly. So 48 ounces, all right? If you're going to paint a screen of 120 inches, you'd have did better at 32 than 48. 48 is going to paint to 150 inch. You have it at 120 inch, which means you give your customers an extra 16 ounces added onto the 32. Trying to put that whole into it, but I am in front of the camera. Anyway, so you actually put in, you put too much into it. So you're going to have to ship, it takes 4 applications, which means it takes 4 48s to paint 120 inch screen, which means only 2 of those containers are going to fit in a medium-sized box. So when you put that on a large box, that's 120 bucks, 116 bucks to ship to Ireland easily. Your profit is 160 bucks. Now this is where it gets complicated for you. I'm going to break this down for you the best way I can. I don't think you're making 4 individual products. That'd be virtually impossible. You wouldn't make any profit. You'd be spending more money than basically when what your product is worth. Let's just say we start off with something basic, okay? We'll start off with network grade 773, right? We'll say $23. That's what it costs here up here in the United States. California is different pricing. Someone doesn't understand how economics work, but someone will explain it to them later on. Anyway, so say it's $23, right? Now, you want to add black to that. That's 17 bucks. That's $40 right there. All right, $40. We're talking about we're talking about making this at a gallon, right? So it's 48, right? So $40, right? So if he's not, but he breaks it down by quart size. Now, if you break it down by quart size, you're still not gonna have enough because your containers are 48s. Now, if your containers were 32s, that'd be different because the quart would be 32, but your containers are 48. So in order to fill that 48, yeah, you're going to have an issue there. Yeah, you're going to have a problem breaking all that down. But let's just keep this clean and simple. Should we do it at 32? Oh, you always break it down. Make it easy. Make it 32. All right, so we're breaking down at 32 ounces for a gallon. All right, 4 of those. Crow, understand this? It's 4 32s that make a gallon. Not 2. You had it at 4. Not 6, not 8. I don't know why you started off with 2 and you ended with 80. No. Anyway, so you're 32, all right? So you're going to have to make 4 different ingredients, right? So like I said, let's say we start off with a gallon, 23, 17 for the black, 23 for the network gray. That's automatically from the door, 40 bucks. Now you want to add a little silver into that. That could be maybe another 17 bucks or 10 bucks or whatever. Altogether, let's say you round it off at around 50 bucks. 50 bucks to make one product, and you got to make three more of these, which means it will add up to an easy 200 bucks. It costs more to make your screen than what you're selling it for. There's no way in the world you're making a profit. How would you make a profit? The only way you would make a profit off of that, unless you basically went in and got the $23, you made 1 gallon of it. Out of the 1 gallon, let's just say you changed the shades to different colors on how much black paint you put in. So some you may put in 3, you may put in 2, you may put in 4. Each one of these have a different shade, but you're claiming them that each one of them have a different form, they're a different formula. But they're not a different formula. They're all from one container. They just have different shades of color attached to them to make it look like they're different. Because that would cost you too much money. You're going to make each one of those ingredients has its own combination of color and has its own combination of how it reacts on how the screen's built together. That means even at 30 bucks, you'd still would be way over. At 30 bucks, you'd be at 120 bucks. You charge your product at $160. How are you making any money? Just to make it alone costs more than what your product sells for. There's no way in the world, and there's no way in the world you're going to make that product at 30 bucks. How are you going to do that? The black paint, the silver and glitter, all that together alone is going to cost you 50 bucks, 50 bucks at most. So how in the world are you making any profit? And you got 4 of these. Unlike Crow, on the other hand, he makes his at a quart, which means if he makes 1 gallon, he breaks that down at 80 or as $170, well, actually 80 bucks per each one, or $89 for each one. But yours, on the other hand, takes 4 of those quarts to make one screen. He only takes 1 quart to make a screen. You take 4, and yours are 48 at that. So if you break it down and you say, okay, each one of these is a different ingredients. Each one, the first one costing at $23 for the network gray. Let's say he's using network gray, okay? I'm not saying he does, but saying he's network gray. All right, and I'm gonna use $17 for black, which is a quart right there. Automatically, that's 40 bucks. And then what I add in for silver and glitter, let's say even 10, $50. That's only one part of the screen. You still got 3 more applications to go. So even if you drop another one in, that's 50, that's 50, that's 50, that's 200 bucks. Your product costs $160. But your add up doesn't even add up. Something ain't right there. Unless you're basically taking a major shortcut and you're just making 1 gallon and you're just basically going in and you're putting in more or less black paint to change the shade of it to make it look like it is different, which I'm going to break down when I get it here. I'm going to break each one of them down and see what they match. And I guarantee you my theory is right, because you wouldn't make any money. It'd be virtually impossible. And mind you, that's at 32. We're talking about 48. So how would you break that up to make it to equal to 48? Yeah. I told you guys, at the end of the day, you don't want me, and you don't want my attention at the end of the day. You really don't. You just basically just best to mind your own business at the end of the day. You really don't want my attention. Because you guys didn't add that up correctly at all, period. You didn't add that up correctly. There is no way in the world 160 bucks. The shipping cost alone would kill you alone, because your containers are huge. Now in the United States, yeah, you're going to pay about $19, close to 20 bucks for a large to ship out. But that's all you can ship out is a large box. You can't ship out a medium-sized box. It's virtually impossible, because 248s are not going to fit in a medium. They're only going to fit in a large box. You can only ship out large boxes only. So you'll make a profit. Yeah, you'll make a, no, not really. You still won't make a profit. Because again, to make it, it costs more to make it than what it sells for. If those are 4 different ingredients and those are 4 different screen paints, and none of them, mind you, listen to me, none of them can match each other. These are 4 different ingredients. You said it's a fusion system, a stacking system, which means if it's a stacking system, and each one of these different products combined together to form this interesting screen, that means none of those formulas can match. They all have to have their different identity. And at $50 a piece for each one to make, let's say if it costs that much, that's $200. Your product sells for $160. How are you making any money? And you still got to ship the product out, buy containers and everything else that goes along with it. That don't even no. Nah, that's no. If you say you're doing it by quart, how are you going to do it by quart? You got 48. Quarts is 32. You still come up short. Nah, you didn't add that up correctly. You really didn't. You really didn't add it up. Even at 32s, you wouldn't make any money because your process takes 4 applications to paint one screen. It takes a lot of paint to paint a 120-inch screen. Which means if it takes a lot of paint, that means you have to process a lot of paint. Or the other one, basically, again, a gallon. Break it up into 4, $80 to $89 each one. Yours, on the other hand, you need an entire gallon just to do one screen. If it was at 32, but you're at 48, which means you need more than an average gallon in order to paint one 120-inch screen. I'm not going to get into math about the other one. We already know the other one doesn't know math. He doesn't know math at all, period. I don't know how in the world you start off with talking about 2 quarts at it come up to $80. No, he said a gallon comes up to $80. How is that possible? And even though on camera, why would you sit there and say 2? Why would you even start off with 2? You had it at 4. You literally had. You right there. You said it 4, but then you said 6, 8. How does 6 and 8 equal into a gallon? And mind you, people, this, if you have kids, your kids will know this. They do. A grown man should know exactly how many quarts it takes to go into a gallon. He should know this. So the fact you started off with 2, and you're talking about each one is $40, and you're talking about $80, and then you basically do a face check on a camera, like you were 100% on board with that. You knew exactly that you were definitely correct on it 100%. That made it even worse because then you approved it by yourself by face checking on camera by saying, yeah, you know it's true. No, it's not true. It's not. By far, it's not true. Which I find that even shocking because you deal in screen paints, which is kind of scary because you don't know exactly how much paint goes into a gallon. Oh, man. Yeah, that's why we don't take you guys. At the end of the day, we don't consider you guys to be anywhere in the field of no, we don't. You guys are hobbyists. That's all you are. You're nothing but hobbyists. That's all you are. You talk about the Frankenstein being with venue projectors. What venue projector do you freaking own at the end of the day? And don't bring up the NEC NP1150 because that's not a venue projector. That's a home theater projector. Even though it has interchangeable lenses, I've had 3 of them here. I had a 5,000, I had a 4,000, and a 35. Even though they have interchangeable lenses on them, I got them right over there, sitting on the interchangeable lenses, right over there on my rack over there. Even though their 4,000 lumens is listed as a home theater projector. You don't have a venue projector. I've never seen any real demonstrations of any of your screen paint products outside. One demonstration when you had a 2x3 tucked away on your walkway, that wasn't even, and another one you said about outdoor paint, and it was actually, the whole demonstration was done inside. PARTAY started his demonstration off with a 3x4 sitting on his deck, sitting outside. And in the demonstration, as you can see that he showed the measuring tape, it was sitting back 12 feet. At 12 feet, at that distance, you should have had a whopping 100 inches, which clearly showed me that you had the zoom pushed all the way down to push up a sharper, brighter image by saying, look how the image looks. That's no. Now you have a demonstration with an inflatable screen. Hey, I'll give you thumbs up. I'll give you credit for switching over something bigger, but still your demonstrations are poor because you're showing the same thing, all these bright colors. No, that is a gray screen. You need to show the opposite of what gray screens can't do, and that is contrast, like me being outside on a 250-inch screen showing you a snowstorm. As a matter of fact, I showed a snowstorm in an actual snowstorm. That's what you're going to have to do. All right. I kind of made that much clear right there. I think we're good with that. Like I said, we have ordering Crow. You can relax, Crow. We had no interest in bringing your stuff. What's the point? It's going to be the same thing. It's only a waste of my time and a waste of my day to bring your stuff down here to match house paint again. So we're done with that. We're done. You can go. As for you, Partay, I've never tested your stuff before. I'm quite interested in breaking this down because I gave you plenty of time that if you're going to come on and you're going to write stuff into your website and say that each one of these you add together are going to fuse to make this insane screen, then you need to break that down to show the difference of what happens, say, if a customer misses one of those applications and they do like from 1, 4, and sorry, 1, 3, and 4, say they miss the application. What is the outcome? What is the cause and effect if you happen to miss an application? That's what you should be showing, but you can't show that because, like I said, I'm pretty sure when you make that product, it's all coming from 1 gallon. I'm pretty sure that you're changing the shades by putting in how much black paint because it would cost you way too much money to do a screen paint for each individual 48, which I say could roughly easy cost you $50. At $200, that's way past what you're charging your product for at $160. You haven't even got ready for shipping containers or anything else. So no. Well, we'll see when we get it down here. And anytime you guys are ready, you let me know. I don't even let me know. Just place the order, for goodness sakes. I'm just tired of talking about it. I really am. I'm so bored of the whole thing of just telling you guys to order from the website. It's not even funny. All right, people, I got to, I'm going outside on the 250 today. We got good weather, so I'm planning to be outside. Get you guys off the mount. This is what we're going to be doing today. This is clear technology, and yes, we're going to be coating a mirror. Woo! A mirror. Yes, a mirror. Yes, I got some technology we're working on in the head today. We get to be on the 250 today. I love this screen so much. You have no idea. You have any idea how big this screen is? What they out there eating today. Look at the size of this monster. I can't wait. I don't know what I'm gonna do today. Like every time I come out here, I get kind of stuck. I can't figure out what we're gonna do out here on the screen. We got 250 inches to play with, and I still can't figure out what to put to run on this thing. When I game on here, if you see me jumping from game to game to game, it's the excitement. Like it's just too much to take in. The screen is gigantic. Oh, but I do have an update for something. So we're gonna build something here, something fun. The screen I showed you that air can travel through it back and forth, we're going to build a 100-inch of it and put it right here so air can travel back and forth the screen. I need to test that theory out and see if that actually works because that would be a game changer against these giants right here. Because you see how that thing has to be put in. These things have, like I said, 6 inch, 6 foot, 6 inches, 6 inch, 6 inch, 6 inch, 6 foot, 6-inch screws that had to be punched into the earth. And these things have to be strapped in because when the wind hits this thing, it constantly boom, 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 moves back and forth. Up top, it's bolted in from one section all the way to the next. All bolts are put in. But if this theory works out, we start on this project next week. If this theory works out and it works the way we think it does, that means that you won't have to deal with this anymore. That means you can have a screen set up and air will flow right through it, including sound. And you won't be doing this. See how the screen's fluctuating back and forth? See all that? That actually also disrupts the picture quality too. Somebody's saying, well, what if you tighten it really tight? You still have wind hitting the back of the screen. Oh, by the way, you see this part right here? It looks like a map. This is where we tested out to see if 2 quarts of paint could paint a 250-inch screen. As you can see, we didn't come close. Yep. That's the screen we did the test on. Again, putting things on the website that are not true, it's not good. You know, you got to test everything out. You have to. All right. Well, that's all I got to say for the day. So that's why they get up bothered because I'm not giving them any attention. I guess they're upset because I'm not giving them any attention. I saw the frustration of some of the people left comments on the site because they're very upset that I'm not giving attention. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I'm a busy man. Unlike you, got things to build. And here we're going to put in a massive screen. So my screen's going to come all the way down to here, halfway to here. We got a whole shelf system to put in with glass sliding doors, a speaker sound, building, customizing my own sound bar, by the way. I'm building it into the frame we're going to have here. We're going to have a section where we can slide this in neatly without having that frame around it. This is going today. We're going to get a black surface. Well, actually, it's kind of a backdrop. Put it from here all the way to here down to here. That's going to be coated with that invisible black Titan technology. So we can get that to display, ceiling display, that display. And if all works well, we can get the floor 3D mapped. I'll tell you something. Ever since I put the black material, this area got really dark at night. Boom, it gets dark in that corner. So those gentlemen can see why Mr. Bird has been so busy. And here, we coated the entire room. Good gracious, I can't believe I actually did it to this day. I still can't believe it. Then we did the next room the same way too, which was even bigger. And Titan technology, which we have 3D mapping on this side. Gentlemen, $60 ultra short though NEC projector displays on a 148-inch screen. That's why it says no excuse for you to be still sitting on 100-inch screens, especially with the projectors you guys own. This room right here, we're designing to be a dedicated theater room. Something that you should have. Something I should have been had a long time ago. Was a dedicated theater room. Check this out, people. So, see how dark you got in here? Because I just shut that one. You want to know what these curtains are? I had a few people on a couple forum sites say, so where did you get the curtains from? Like, how much you pay for them? Because they thought they were like the blackout curtains. I didn't want anything, because mind you, over top this, we're going to have our red movie curtains. Let me put my lights on for a minute. Oh, fan is on. Lights are heavy on. So over top this, we're going to have our red movie curtains here and here. But I wanted something that if the light comes through, it wasn't going to be to pull around those movie curtains. You know what I mean? Keep it nice and dark, which is interesting for me to keep saying that because I do a lot of demonstrations in ambient light environments. This room feels like a whole nother section of the house. It really does. So we're going to put the movie curtains here. As I said before, we're going to put movie curtains here. And movie curtains, no, I forgot, we don't need nothing there. Right here, we're going to build a 135-inch acoustic screen. We're going to put a soundproof blanket behind there. We definitely need that. And we're going to build our nice little stage, our movie stage we're going to have here. It's going to sit up on top of a stage. It's going to pop in. All speakers going to be on the back of it. Right here, we already measured out the floor to build our platform to raise it up off the floor. And we have, I'm going to get 6 of those chairs right there. Now, these chairs, I like them because they got built-in massagers in them. They're recliners, all that good stuff. Any problem? No cup holders. So they got a cup holder that fits over top of that. Put the cup holders right in there. My floor will be here on May the 9th. So all this will be changed. You won't see this anymore. All that will be changed. Oh, I cannot wait. I never had a movie theater before. It's funny because the guy sat there and said, oh, by the way, all this in here is all Titan technology. The whole environment is painted with Titan. So if anybody sits there and says, gee, what can you paint it on? Whatever you want, even the ceiling fan has it. So now, gentlemen, while you guys are out there sitting, making your means and getting angry and getting upset with your comments back, I'm building me a dedicated movie theater room, which you should have. You're going to call yourself a company at the end of the day. Where's your dedicated theater room? And not to be rude here, but PARTAY, that's not a dedicated theater room. It's a family room. That's what you got. That's my lounge in there, and that environment has more light than your environment. And my screen's bigger, 127 inches, again, 1610. I sit back 18 feet from my screen, and my screen sits in a bay of windows. $150-inch screen on the deck. While you guys were sitting there making memes and getting upset, I was building this thing and putting this together, and the one below. And on top of that, the screen over top, this is a projection screen. This is coated with invisible 38 Black Widow technology, which means I can display the stars right up off my ceiling, right here off my screen, my awning, and watch my screen at the same time on my short throw. Don't get in any trouble, you hear me? You stay out here and chill. You'll get in trouble. So excuse me if I don't have the time, and the reason why we don't consider your products to be real products at the end of the day, because you don't do anything. It's the same demonstrations day in and day out, day in and day out. Nothing new. We got 3 motorized projection screens over here. Got 180 inch, 150 inch right there tucked in there somewhere. An inflatable screen sitting over there. Another 80 inch screen. Plexiglass screens we're test on. 148 inch, 106 inch wallpaper screen. 129 inch 1610. 250 sitting in the back. And soon a 100 inch outside acoustic wind resistant screen. And test formulas that we haven't even had a chance to get to. See, if you spent more of your time concentrating on your craft and stop hating on other people, maybe you would have something to show for it at the end of the day, instead of making a bunch of memes and being upset and angry. When you have time to stop playing these little games, order a product. We're still waiting. With that being said, gotta go, gotta get back to work, and God bless.